TP200 is a professional tire pressure diagnosis tool. It supports tire pressure faults, diagnosis of various models, supports activation and programming of 315 MHz and 433 MHz tire pressure sensors, and reads live data of tire pressure, equipped with many special functions. TP200 supports diagnosis of tire pressure system for thousands of vehicle models. First, select the corresponding model, select Read Fault Code. After reading the fault code successfully, select View Fault Code to view the meaning of the fault code. Fault code can be cleared after troubleshooting. Click the Activate button to activate the tire pressure sensor. Use the arrow keys to select different tires, and place the TP200 close to the tire sidewall directly above the sensor. After successful activation, the status and pressure value of the sensor will be displayed on the screen. TP200 can program 1 to 8 tire pressure sensor at the same time. 4 types programming methods. Copy ID by activation. This way is to trigger the sensor which is waiting for copying. Identify the sensor and program this ID into TS100 sensor. First, select Activate and click. Vehicle model image displays blue represents the sensor which needs activation. Take TP200 close to cycle valve front left, which is the installation place for tire pressure sensor. Click Programming keypad in bottom left. Activate tire pressure ID. Vehicle model image has corresponding right. After activation, it will turn to next tire automatically. Activate front left, front right, right rear, left rear. Click Return back to function interface. Select Programming. Select Copy ID by activating. After select ID, take the new TS100 sensor in the front of tire pressure device, enter programming interface. It has detected sensor serial SN code is corresponding the new sensor SN code. Click programming keypad to start writing ID into the new sensor. Then, install the sensor into tire which has been programmed. After changing the sensor, certain vehicle models will need road test. Copy ID by Read ECU. This way is to read sensor ID which is stored by vehicle tire pressure system ECU and program the ID in TS100 sensor. Connect vehicle mounted OBD interface via wire. Open the ignition lock. Select corresponding vehicle model. Select Diagnosis, read OBD ID frame and corresponding tires ID code which are stored by 4 tires ECU automatically. Back to function interface, select Programming, select Copy ID by Read ECU. Using up-down key to select certain tire ID which is need to match, then take the new TS100 sensor in the front of TP200. It has detected sensor serial SN code is corresponding the new sensor SN code. Click Programming keypad in bottom left to start. Generate ID automatically. Use this function to create the exclusive sensor ID into TS100 sensor. These ID are random generation. They are often different from sensor ID which is stored by original vehicle tire pressure system. So it is necessary to learn the newly generate sensor ID into the original vehicle tire pressure system. Prepare the new sensor which is need to program in the front of TP200. Click Generate ID automatically. Sensor SN code has been identified. Click Programming keypad in bottom left. Check Programming. Then install the sensor in tire which has been programmed. Click Activate Wheel Tire Pressure Sensor. Back to function interface, select Diagnosis, using navigation keypad to select Learning Sensor, view the hint to learn sensor. Input ID manually. Click Manual Input ID. Hint: only select a sensor to program, using navigation keypad input ID code. Prepare the new sensor which is need to program in the front of TP200. Click OK. Automatically scan in sensor. Click Programming keypad in bottom left, check Programming. Then install the sensor entire which has been programmed. Click Activate Wheel Tire Pressure Sensor. Back to Function Interface. Select Diagnosis. Using navigation keypad to select Learning Sensor. View the hint to learn sensor. Click Tire Pressure Learning and follow the text instructions. TP200 can read the original sensor information and has many special functions such as maintenance lamp reset, instrument panel repair, throttle matching and so on. TP200 Tire Pressure Diagnosis Tool. Your all-around tire pressure diagnosis specialist.